Atiq Ahmed. This name has been synonymous with crime and terror in Uttar Pradesh since 1979. For the past 44 years, Atiq Ahmed, five-time MLA and former member of parliament from Phulpur incidentally had sent independent India's first Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, to Lok Sabha. From Phulpur, or from this part of Uttar Pradesh, Atiq Ahmed ran his crime empire. The mafia-turned-politician has been brought to Naini jail to face the law in a 2006 abduction case. But to all those who spread rumors that he'd be killed in a fake encounter or that his vehicle would overturn, do all of them now stand exposed as fearmongers? I'm Gaurav Sawant. We debate, but first, as always, the headlines. Three days after losing Lok Sabha membership, Rahul Gandhi asked to vacate his government bungalow. Government says it's following due process. Congress says the Narendra Modi government is resorting to pure vendetta. Congress leads black protest after Rahul Gandhi's disqualification. Uproar and disruptions continue in Parliament. Papers thrown at the Speaker. Placards raised. Youth Congress protests across the country. Storm over Rahul Gandhi's Savarkar apology comment. Congress ally Uddhav Thackeray sees red, says will not tolerate insult to Savarkar. Uddhav Sena boycotts the opposition protest. After Karnataka government scraps 4% Muslim quota, former Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa's house attacked by protesters in Shivamogga. News just coming in. Khalistan supporters stoop to a new law in Australia. Khalistan supporters are now using young children to protest outside the Indian mission. Khalistan supporters are poisoning young minds. They're taking children to political protests, and we'll show you those videos. Look at that video on your television screen. Use of child protesters in Melbourne, and this video has now gone viral. Now, very desperate tactics being adopted by the Khalistan supporters, roping in young children, teenagers for these protests. We can't even make you listen to what some of these brainwashed children are saying, and one really wonders if this is how the brainwashing of little children is being done. Some of these children are really young. Imagine what kind of elements will these children grow up to be. The Khalistanis very clearly appear to be very desperate. Remember, even if we talk about specifically about Australia, it began with the targeting of Hindu temples, including the ISKCON temple. That was targeted in Australia. India, of course, has officially raised this with the government in Australia, urging the government to stop activities of these pro-Khalistan elements because it's also resulted in violence very recently in the past. India has opposed the violence perpetrated by these Khalistan supporters, insisting, one, that their action does not reflect the tenets of Sikhi, and two, the activities of these pro-Khalistan elements is actually bringing Sikhi, or Sikhism as some people put it, it's bringing Sikhi into disrepute. The activities of Khalistan supporters from Canada to the United States, from United Kingdom to Australia, it's been a cause for concern, and let's try and make sense of some of these developments. Let's listen in. Let's try and listen in to what some of these radicalized little children are saying. Let's listen in. Imagine these Khalistanis, as some argue, are taking support from Pakistan, and they're taking support of some radical Islamists, and if they're invoking Guru Gobind Singh Ji, whether it's Guru Arjan Dev Ji, whether it's Guru Tegh Bahadur, or the 9th Sikh Guru, or the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they made the supreme sacrifice of their lives fighting radical Islamists, and these people are taking their support. Shiv Arur and Abhishek Bhalla join me for more on the story. Abhishek, these Khalistanis appear to be very, very desperate now, using children at these protests.
This is a new low, perhaps, that these Khalistani protests are reaching, that even little children in their teens, or perhaps even younger than that, are being brought to these protest sites where they are chanting anti-India slogans, which are pro-Khalistan. And the bigger question that rises here is, who is behind all of this? Who is orchestrating these protests? Where is the funding coming from? And a pertinent question that needs to be asked is that many of these people, be it in Australia, be it in UK, US or Canada, are actually not citizens of India. They're citizens of these countries, been living there for many years. These young kids, especially that are being used, are definitely born in these countries. So what is the motivation behind them coming to such protests? And there needs to be a clampdown from the Indian government as well.
That's a very interesting question you raise, Abhishek, and let me take that to Shiv Arur. Shiv, you've been tracking this very closely, and this appears to be a very well-coordinated conspiracy from Canada to San Francisco in the United States of America, from London in the UK to Melbourne in Australia. It's almost as if some anti-India forces are paying the piper and dictating the tune.
Well, Gaurav, I can't say I'm surprised by the images coming in from Australia of, children being used by these Khalistani thugs in their protests. There were images earlier from another protest in some other country where they had a baby in a pram holding, the baby was made to hold a placard. So, I don't think anyone should put anything past these thugs. They don't have any ideology. They're there for the take. They're all being paid a little bit of money to pick up those flags and indulge in all kinds of violence. It's a tiny percentage of a large and proud community that is unfortunately being tarred as a result of the actions of a few delinquent elements in countries like Australia, the United Kingdom, Canada, and sadly also in the United States. It most certainly seems like there's a larger conspiracy, because it's very difficult for something like this to be spontaneous. It's obviously organized. Clearly, the Khalistan file has suddenly received a lot of funding from Pakistan, despite what's happening in Pakistan and the mess that country is in. Clearly, they found the resources to spend some money to try and revive some energy on Khalistan. And I must say, in some ways, because of the media attention paid to the specific acts of vandalism, the attack on the Indian embassy in London, and attacks in other countries, it has grabbed a little bit of attention. But let's make no mistake, these are a bunch of thugs. Most of them are going to very soon face action because their OCI cards or their properties in India will face action. I'm hearing from the Home Ministry and other government sources that many of these people are going to have their tails between their legs very, very soon, because once the trouble hits home, it's all very well to pick up a flag, take kids, and go and protest in front of an embassy in a country that protects your freedom of speech and expression and right to protest, despite that country's relations with India.
You're absolutely right. Let's see what action actually follows this. But for joining me, Abhishek and Shiv, many thanks. Now, for close to 44 years, Atiq Ahmed, the name of this mafia-turned-political leader, this name was synonymous with terror and fear in Uttar Pradesh. But in the past 24 hours, it's Atiq Ahmed's face that shows terror. He fears there could be an encounter and he may be eliminated. His sister, Aisha Noori, thought so too. Incidentally, his wife, she's absconding. One of his sons is absconding. Two of his sons are in jail. His brother is now has been moved from Bareilly to Naini jail. But as far as Akhilesh Yadav, chief of the Samajwadi Party, is concerned, he too fears that there could have been an encounter or his vehicle would have overturned. But are these fears genuine, or is this more fear-mongering, considering that prison van from Sabarmati prison to Naini prison in Prayagraj, from Gujarat to Uttar Pradesh, travelled over 1,200 kilometers in under 24 hours, and now he's safe in jail? Gopi Ghangar, Samarth Srivastav, Arvind Ojha, and Santosh Sharma with this report.
A dramatic journey from Sabarmati jail in Gujarat to Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. Driving through the dusty roads of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and finally Uttar Pradesh, this fortified four-vehicle convoy with 20 armed cops transported dreaded gangster and Don Atiq Ahmed. Uttar Pradesh police, who took custody of the former SP MP on Sunday evening, undertook an arduous journey through 4 states to bring him to Prayagraj.
अतीक अहमद बाहर आ चुका है। अतीक अहमद की ये पहली तस्वीरें आप देख सकते हैं। अतीक अहमद इस वक्त बाहर आ चुका है, जेल के बाहर, साबरमती सेंट्रल जेल के बाहर।
कोटा शहर पहुंच चुका है अतीक अहमद को लेकर यूपी पुलिस का काफिला। ये आप पीछे देख सकते हैं मेरे, यही वो वैन है जिसमें अतीक अहमद सवार है।
The UP cops driving down a gangster brought back memories of the Vikas Dubey encounter case when Dubey was shot dead after his vehicle overturned and he allegedly tried to escape. And that's what prompted Atiq Ahmed to tell India Today he feared for his life. The encounter word was repeated over and over again by Atiq Ahmed's family as well.
एनकाउंटर का खतरा है। दोनों भाई अशरफ को भी ला रहे हैं, विधायक जी को भी बरेली से ला रहे हैं।
SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav also took a Gadi Paltegi taunt at the Yogi Sarkar, which the state government immediately shot down.
पता नहीं उनको पहले मुख्यमंत्री जी ने फोन करके बता दिया होगा कि इस जगह पर गाड़ी पलटा देंगे। और मैंने उस समय भी कहा था कि जिस समय आप गूगल से और अमेरिका से मदद ले लोगे, आपको पता लग जाएगा कि किस समय गाड़ी पलटी है और किसने पलटाई है।
ये माननीय न्यायालय का मामला है और माननीय न्यायालय जो भी आदेश देगा उसका अनुपालन कराना हमारा धर्म है। सभी मामले, दोनों मामले माननीय न्यायालय के ही आदेश पर लाए जा रहे हैं।
Amid the encounter politics, the UP cops ensured Atiq was brought safely to Prayagraj for his court appearance in the Umesh Pal case.
इनके साथ सिंपैथिक ना करे कि हाँ उनको यानी सजा ना दे, कारावास ना दे। मैं चाह रही हूँ कि उन्हें फांसी की सजा मिले।
मुख्यमंत्री जी से, शासन से, पुलिस प्रशासन से कि अगर इसकी मौत हो जाएगी तब मुझे तसल्ली मिलेगा। इसलिए जैसे मेरे बेटे का मर्डर किया है वैसे इसका भी होना चाहिए।
Atiq Ahmed is lodged at the Naini jail in Prayagraj. As per the sources, he is kept in isolation in a high-security barrack. His cell has a CCTV camera. Specially picked jail staff wearing body cameras are keeping a sharp eye on the Don. Prayagraj jail office and jail headquarters will monitor the prison around the clock through a video wall. The UP government is cracking the whip on Atiq Ahmed and his aides ever since Chief Minister Yogi took an oath in Parliament to wipe mafia.
जिस अतीक अहमद के खिलाफ पीड़ित परिवारों ने मुकदमा दर्ज कराया, उसके परिवार के खिलाफ, वह समाजवादी पार्टी के द्वारा पोषित माफिया है और उसकी कमर को तोड़ने का काम हमारी सरकार ने किया है। और फिर मैं कह रहा हूँ, इसे हम कह रहे हैं, इस माफिया को मिट्टी में मिला देंगे। सरकार किसी है, सरकार किसी है, गफलत में हो, ये माफिया है, इनको मिट्टी में मिलाने का काम करेंगे। अपराधी आप लोग हैं, अपराधी दूर कर।
Bureau Report, India Today.
माफिया को मिट्टी में मिला देंगे. This is what Yogi Adityanath had said. Is that actually happening? This mafia don is scared. In under 24 hours, there'll be a judgment that will be pronounced in the Umesh Pal abduction case. Is the long arm of the law finally catching up with mafia don turned politician Atiq Ahmed? Or is there merit in the opposition saying that the fear is not of the law It's of extrajudicial killings. Joining me on India First is Anila Singh representing the BJP. Ashutosh Verma represents the Samajwadi Party. Dr. Vikram Singh is former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police, joining us for a police perspective. But Ashutosh Verma, was Akhilesh Yadav fear-mongering when he spoke of the vehicle overturning when Atiq Ahmed was being brought to Naini jail? That fear-mongering, sir, has flopped. The prison van is in Naini prison.
So, Gaurav, how did you get impression that Akhilesh Yadav got a fear-mongering of encounter of Atiq Ahmed? What is the connection with Atiq Ahmed with Samajwadi Party presently? Atiq Ahmed has not been a part of Samajwadi Party since last 5 to 6 years. In fact, in 2018, by Phulpur, Atiq Ahmed contested against the Samajwadi Party, and there was a rumor across the state that Atiq Ahmed will be the Hanuman for BJP in the Phulpur. From that day, it has been preserved by Bharatiya Janata Party for these days. Basically, Atiq Ahmed is now going to play like an asset for Bharatiya Janata Party rather than liability of anybody.
Okay,
so it's a political game by Bharatiya Janata Party.
He's an asset for the BJP. Anila Singh, BJP MP Subrat Pathak said no one should be surprised if Atiq Ahmed's vehicle overturns. So why blame Akhilesh Yadav? Isn't Atiq Ahmed's fear that there could be an encounter or his vehicle will overturn, isn't that justified, madam?
My Ram Ram to everyone. And since this whole episode started with the sad murder of Umesh Pal, what we are observing? We are observing one thing, Gaurav, that day in and day out, spokespersons, leaders, president of Samajwadi Party, they are advocating for Atiq Ahmed, and that is for reality. For once, Mr. Verma is not going to say that whatever Atiq Ahmed did, whatever in today's date Atiq Ahmed's gang do, that is absolutely wrong, illegal. They are indulged in heinous crime, but they will not. But Mr. Verma cannot say that because his own big face, Mr. Ram Gopal Yadav, he did the PC, और उन्होंने बोला बेचारे अतीक अहमद का कहीं एनकाउंटर ना हो जाए, कहीं उसकी हत्या ना हो जाए, बेचारे अतीक अहमद. So this is the mindset, this is the thought process of Samajwadi Party. How Mr. Verma can decline this fact that yes.
Let me take this to Dr. Vikram Singh. Dr. Vikram Singh, whether it's Ram Gopal Yadav or Akhilesh Yadav, are they fear-mongering? I mean, Akhilesh Yadav, after all, is former chief minister, knows how the administration functions, especially given the track record of the UP police in the Vikas Dubey vehicle overturning mysteriously case as late as 2020.
Gauravji, 3 quick points. All these 2 senior leaders are iconic and they're very senior, and their statements are bizarre and irresponsible to say the least. Bias and hypocrisy are inbuilt, and there are multiple targets in whatever they have said. One, the appeasement, and the second, to stand like the rock of Gibraltar in the defense of Atiq Ahmed. Not a word of condemnation about his depredations and his blood-sucking habits. He was a vampire and a Frankenstein. Not a word of condemnation. So the truth is obvious and apparent. It's a different matter. He also accused the Gauravji, you failed to mention that he also accused the police. Don't think for a moment that you can absolve yourself if the vehicle gets overturned. There will be maps. We can take the help of Google. Do you think for a moment that we are the lathi-wielding police? Well, we have IIT toppers in the STF and the UP police. They know what air reconnaissance is and satellite imaging is, artificial intelligence, the use of facial recognition software and the like. We are the best in the world. So don't try to give us tutorials on how to police. And then we know what the faithful and implicit implementation of rule of law is. And to that extent, we are proud of our record.
Fair enough.
And
Let me take this one second.
Not a single.
Go on, sir.
Not a single culprit has escaped the dragnet of the UP police till now, starting from Sultana in 1920s till date. And nobody, either Assad or Shaista, is going to escape.
That's a strong point you're making there. Of course, it does remain some time, whether it's Guddu Muslim or Shaista or Assad and several others, they're still absconding. But Ashutosh Verma respond. Anila Singh says, Bechare Atiq Ahmed. And you heard Dr. Vikram Singh saying, not a word of condemnation for the actions of Atiq Ahmed.
No, Gaurav, we are very clear that we told it that it's a gangster. And we totally condemn. Who says that we are praising Atiq Ahmed? We totally condemn. In fact, let me complete my. Who say bichara? Play the video. At least I have got to hear. At least
Okay.
I get here from
Fair enough.
Atiq Ahmed.
Fair enough.
But
Go on.
this is the problem. The problem is that the government is run by Bharatiya Janata Party. The government in Sabarmati is run by Bharatiya Janata Party. Both the place, the criminal is placed in Bharatiya Janata Party state. He is conspiring there, and the gangs of Wasipur like scene is taking place in Uttar Pradesh. So it is possible that there is no help from the internal part of the government. Definitely
Okay.
they are.
There's
because
a grave
it is
charge.
not possible
Anila Singh, quickly respond.
that it is not possible that two Bharatiya Janata Party ruled states
Mr. Verma
and
cannot
the
give any
Atiq is there
explanation.
and you are.
Okay.
Let me complete. Gaurav, let me complete. Even it is happening without the help of these person. I
because you
think
do not have any face. Mr.
total
Verma, that is enough.
One by
That
one.
is enough,
Okay.
I think.
Ashutosh Sharma, you've
Just
raised a valid point. You've raised a valid point. Anila Singh, you must respond. BJP government in Gujarat, BJP government in Uttar Pradesh. How is this gangs of Wasipur operating in Uttar Pradesh?
No, you cannot say that. In Uttar Pradesh, at least since 2017, when Yogi Adityanath ji took the oath as a chief minister of Uttar Pradesh,
Ma'am,
his
fact
first
remains,
agenda and
fact
mandate-
remains, Umesh Pal was killed. Fact remains, Guddu Muslim is still absconding. Shaista Parveen is still absconding. Asad, Atiq Ahmad's youngest son, still absconding. So are some of the other shooters, madam.
The way Umesh Pal was murdered, it is a self-goal. It is a self-goal, and it is really going to totally finish this gang. That is why, they are just absconding, they are running away. But the final thing is that for how long? Yogi's police is really going to catch them out. They have to come back to Uttar Pradesh, and they will be taken to task by the police administration, and then finally, of course, the judicial system is going to do its job.
Dr.
But the
Vikram
thing
Singh,
is that if
Dr.
somebody
Vikram Singh,
thinks,
as a
allow
former
me to finish.
DGP,
Allow me 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Go on, ma'am.
Just 5 seconds. I just want to say here to all those political parties, whether in center, whether in state, if they think that Yogi Adityanath's government is going to spare these criminals, then you are sadly mistaken. All those who are absconding in today's date, they will be behind the bars or whatever place they have to.
Fair enough.
Whether
Dr.
behind
Vikram
the
Singh,
bars
as the
or
former
somewhere else,
DGP of
they will be
UP,
punished.
do you buy the argument that though Atiq Ahmad and Mukhtar, through Atiq Ahmad and Mukhtar Ansari, minorities are being targeted and minorities are in fear in Uttar Pradesh? That's also a point that the opposition makes.
Absolute nonsense, and nothing could be farther from truth than this. These are not minorities, they are criminals and the mafia, and they should be dealt with. And the way a cigarette butt is extinguished, they should be decimated in that manner. They should, and those who identify the minorities with Atiq and Mukhtar, well, I have my sympathies with them, and I feel very sorry for those. Minorities are represented by APJ Abdul Kalam Bharat Ratna, Havaldar Abdul Hamid Paramveer Chakra holder, Brigadier Usman, and not by Atiq and Mukhtar. We have much, much better and lofty ideals among the minority communities, whom you and I salute.
Sir, that's a very good point you make. Ashutosh Verma, agar Atiq Ahmad is a mafia. If a mafia is today scared in Uttar Pradesh, the BJP claims that they're moving away from Mafia Raj, they're moving towards Ram Raj.
Exactly. Gaurav, I too praise what Dr. Vikram Singh has said, that there is no caste or religion for the criminals. They are dead criminals. But in the India today, 10 p.m., I challenge Bharatiya Janata Party government. And
okay, I'm sorry, I'm losing your audio. I'll try and reestablish that link, but I've run out of time on this part of the show. This part of the show, we will track the story because Atiq Ahmed is now in Naini jail. Tomorrow he will be in court. His brother Ashraf will be in court. The others, his wife is absconding. One of his sons, Asad, is absconding. Asad incidentally has a 2.5 lakh rupee reward on him. Whether Yogi Adityanath's police are successful in bringing them to justice, we'll be tracking that story very closely. A quick break. Business Today with Abha Bakaya up next. Stay with us.
ईडी, सीबीआई, इनकम टैक्स जैसी एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग हो रहा है और लगातार विपक्ष के नेताओं को इस पर निशाना बनाया जा रहा है।